Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Manifest Edit podcast. You're joined by me, your host, Efia, and today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the harsh truth about why no one cares about your dreams and what you can do about it. So maybe this is you right now. You've started a new business or you've started this new venture and you're super excited about it. You're so pumped to get this off the ground and you feel like none of your family and friends are supporting you, like no one gets it. And why aren't the people showing up for you on the same level that you would show up for them? Or maybe you're even wondering why strangers on the internet are hyping you up, yet from your family and friends you get absolutely nothing. I understand how frustrating this can be, but I also think there are more than a few reasons why this is going to be the case. So in this episode, I'm going to be breaking down why specifically that is and how you can actually get people to support you and want to support you too. If you aren't already, make sure to hit subscribe so that you can get updated on future episodes which drop every single Wednesday. Let's get into some life updates. So a couple of months ago, I did an episode on how I always manifest princess treatment in my life, and I was at my wellness club / gym on Monday, and something that I've started doing recently is ordering hot water. So they come around when you sit down, and because they've like filtered water and tap, and it's like, would you like sparkling or still? Sparkling or still? I love it. It's like going to a restaurant, and one of the best parts is just like being a pampered princess. Anyway, I go in. There's a new person that has started working there recently. I know because I've not seen his face, and I've been going there for a year. And I sit down, and he comes around to ask for the order, sparkling or still. And I'm like, actually, can I have some hot water? And because I stay there for the whole day, I'm literally there from 9 to 5. The water just keeps being replenished. And he even is like, oh, should I add some water to your hot water? Should I add a lemon to your hot water? Which he did, and it made it just taste even better. I know it's kind of weird, but honestly, since I was a young age, I've really just loved the taste of hot water. I don't know why it is. I just love it. And anyway, he's bringing me over my hot water and he's like, oh, do you drink hot water all the time? And I thought he was like picking up on, oh, this is kind of a weird thing to ask for. However, he was like, do you drink hot water all the time? And I was like, well, it just depends on the weather, because sometimes I just like that internal heat. He's like, okay, because if it is something that you like to order all the time, then I'll just remember it for you for next time you come in. I'll try and remember so I can just bring it over to you. And I was like, this man, he just gets me. This man really gets me. And it was such a small thing, but it made me feel so pampered in the moment, and it's just given me a lot of life this week, so I wanted to share that with you. And when you make princess treatment your default, I'm telling you, it just happens. So if you haven't already listened to that episode on the secret to always receive princess treatment in your life, definitely check it out, because I'm telling you, this ish works. Also, it's following the same vein of life updates. I've never worked a 9 to 5 job in my life, and in the past 4 years specifically, I've been self-employed and working from home, which is great. However, I often find when I'm working from home, there are just so many distractions of working from home. So recently I've started going into the gym / wellness club and just setting up in the cafe for the day and pretending that I'm going into the office, and I'm like kind of cosplaying a corporate baddie, and I love it. It is the best setup. So let me walk you through my day yesterday. So I get up and I leave the house at around 8. I get to the gym. I have a physio appointment there. I do my physio at 9. We go to the gym a little bit and she shows me some exercises to start implementing, because I've had a knee injury that I'm recovering from. And so we do that, do my physio session. Physio session finishes, and then I go into the cafe part. Set up in the cafe part, I'm doing some work. I'm actually mapping out YouTube videos. And then 12 o'clock comes around and I've booked in for my PEMF mat and red light therapy. So I hop over into the Haven area, I get my red light therapy, PEMF mat, back to the cafe, I have my bulletproof coffee, I have my lunch, which was this incredible bowl with like, slow cooked lamb and roasted vegetables, pumpkin hummus, and it's like, was it kimchi? Oh, so good. Have that, check my app, and I'm like, there's a breathwork class in half an hour. I could probably make it to that. Move from lunch, I go to the breathwork class, have an amazing breathwork class, and then come back to the cafe, do some more work, do a couple more hours of work, and then I'm like, okay, let me just hit the gym. Go across to the gym area, hit the gym, and then after that, I go to the cold plunge, go to the sauna, go to the steam room. Is that not just the best day ever? And I know it's not exactly the same as going into the office. I'm sure people aren't having all of those pieces in between, but this setup I've found is working really very well for me. And I say that, and it's only been a few weeks since I've been implementing this, and I'm saying like, yeah, this has just been amazing for me. But it's something that I'm definitely going to incorporate more moving forward, because it really just makes me feel the way I felt when I was leaving yesterday. I was like, that was such a productive day. I did things for my wellness, I did things for my health, I did things for my business. I just ticked all the boxes yesterday, and I get to come home and be really excited about coming home, rather than just like moving from my office area to my bedroom area. Like, this is great. If you're also someone who works from home and you find yourself being like, oh, I'm working from home, it's so great, but I also actually never get anything done, find a really beautiful space that you are excited to go to. Maybe that's your local library, or maybe that's co-working with a friend. This is something I do. Like, the body doubling of having someone else there makes me feel more pressured to get stuff done. I don't know. Find an environment and surround yourself with people that uplift you so that you can get more done. And this applies to so many areas of your life too. Okay, with that said, let's get into this week's episode and talk about why no one is supporting your dreams or supporting your business, and how you can actually get people to not only support you, but want to support you as well. Straight up, I'm going to say that there is a very small group of people, very, very, very small percentage of people. Maybe in some people's lives, this will be a larger quantity than others, but generally speaking, and from what I've seen in my life and also in my clients' lives, there is a very, very small portion of people who just genuinely don't like you. Okay, the reason they don't support your business, or they don't support your dreams, is because they just flat out don't like you, or maybe they're jealous of you, or maybe they don't understand you, but they don't support you because they just don't want to. What happens though is, for many people, they flip the percentages around and they think, well, 90% of people aren't supporting me because they're jealous of me, because they don't like me, because they're not on board with what I'm doing. But the truth is, that's such a small portion of it. So small that it could even actually be negligible, right? There's not as many people who are rooting for your demise as you probably think they are. And of course, yes, it sucks to have people who are jealous of you, or who don't support you, who are secret haters in your life, or who are open haters. I definitely had someone in my life I kept around for way longer than I should have, and she was not even a secret hater. She did not make her hating a secret. she made her hating very known, and I think maybe because I had lower self-esteem at that point in time, that I just tolerated it, I put up with it, whereas now that would not fly in my life at all. But generally speaking, most people in your life are not going to be like that. If that is true, why then are people not supporting you? Right? If the majority of people are not haters, they're not jealous of you, they're not rooting for your downfall, why are they not supporting you? Let's get into the reasons. First of all, no one wants to be shamed into supporting you, right? No one wants to be embarrassed into feeling, or guilted into feeling like they're not doing enough. So when I see those posts that people share on social media, and there's a specific one that I'm thinking of, and it looks like a receipt, and it's like liking my photo, sharing a post, there's a list of different things, and that all of them, it says $0, $0, $0, and then something about supporting your friend's business. I've seen this floating around so many times over the years, and essentially I just can't think of anyone seeing that and being like, oh my goodness, they're right, it costs nothing, let me just go ahead and click over onto their profile and share something about their business because I feel so guilty that I haven't done anything, right? Typically the people who are engaging with those kind of posts, who are seeing those other posts, are other business owners who are feeling, what's the word? I don't want to say butthurt, but that's kind of what I mean. Is other business owners who are like, yeah, no one supports me. Let me just share this receipt thing. And then they're not even sharing anything from your business, right? And it's just this cycle of sharing that image, but not actually getting the support from your business. No one wants to be guilted or shamed into supporting you. It's just not a good way to motivate someone into action. The reason why we may often resort to that, oh, well, I'm going to shame people into, or even because that's what it is, it's like a form of slight manipulation. Well, I'm going to manipulate people into sharing something. And the reason why you may think this is a good idea is because the way that we are typically disciplined as children is through shame and guilt. Like, oh, if you don't eat all your food, this kid's starving, that would appreciate the food more. Or if you don't eat this, you're not going to get any dessert. That is what we learn as children, but we have to reprogram as adults to think of, well, what are actually healthy ways to get the support or get the results I actually want? And passive aggressive posts are not going to do that for you. It's a hard pill to swallow, but the truth is nobody owes you anything. People don't owe you a shared post. People don't owe you a like. People don't owe you any of that stuff. Of course, it would be nice and it would be helpful and it would be supportive, but we can't feel like people owe that to us. One of the biggest factors that I have identified why I feel like people do not support your dreams, or maybe if you recently started a business and you feel like people aren't supporting you with that, one of the biggest reasons for this is because you haven't asked them to, right? Maybe you have made a general overall post, I've started a new business, I'm really excited about this, or I've started taking dancing lessons, here's a video from my dancing lesson, and then you don't get the engagement that you would like with that post, and you're basing a lot of your self-worth on people liking or some other thing. But you have to remember that you are seeing this through the lens of a business owner, through the lens of someone who has recently started a new hobby. You cannot expect yourself from other people, and you cannot expect people to be on the same level if it is so far outside the realms of possibility for them. So for example, as a business owner, I understand that it can have a significant impact on your business if someone shares your work. If they like your work, it's gonna, if you like an Instagram post, it's gonna boost it in the algorithm, and then maybe it's gonna get shown to more people. If your post gets shared, maybe someone sees it and they're like, oh, this is what I'm looking for, I wanna purchase from that business. Or it's just helping you grow your audience, especially when you're first getting started. As a business owner, I know these things. For someone, on the other hand, who maybe is not a business owner, or they work a 9 to 5, or they don't really understand the inner workings of what goes on into marketing a small business, or how much of an impact their one like, their one share can make, that is not necessarily going to be their automatic thought pattern, right? And we can't assume just because it's not someone's automatic thought pattern that they don't want to do it for you. So if you're thinking from the lens of, I'm a business owner and this is what I would do, or I've just started dancing and if my friend had started this dancing hobby, I would be supporting them on that level, because you are seeing it through a distorted lens, right? You're having tunnel vision to that new thing that you're working on. And absolutely, you should be super laser focused on it, but don't forget that the majority of people are not living that same reality as you. On that same vein, don't then create self-fulfilling prophecies of, well, no one ever supports my business, no one ever supports me, no one ever supports anything I do, because then what you're going to do is program your subconscious mind to look for evidence that this is true, even if this is not the case, right? You're only going to then tunnel in on all the ways in which people aren't supporting you, as opposed to the ways that people maybe are that you haven't noticed. As I said at the beginning, the majority of people are not haters. The majority of people are not jealous. The majority of people aren't out to get you. The majority of people maybe just don't have an understanding to the level that you do. So rather than creating these self-fulfilling prophecies, where can you identify where someone maybe has helped you in a way that is not like directly involved with the business, but maybe your partner was like, hey, I'm gonna cook dinner tonight, or I'm gonna do the dishes tonight, or I'm gonna take us out tonight. And by them doing that, that has freed up space in your brain for you to work on your business, or for you to think about your business. Really collect evidence in the ways that people are supporting you, even if it is not direct, so that you can reprogram your subconscious, instead of being from this place of people never support me to, of course people support me, people love to support me, people love to see me succeed, people want to see me do well. Because then you are not only going to attract more of that support into your life, but you're going to feel so much better about things as well. And then the other two things I want to say about this, on why you may not necessarily be getting the support from people, is because you don't feel comfortable asking for support, right? You don't feel comfortable to get support from people. You don't want to put people out. You don't want to be a burden to people. And I remember I had a situation that came up for me at the beginning of the year. There was a lot of stuff going on with my living situation. It was very stressful, stressed me out quite a lot. And my therapist had mentioned like, oh, like, why don't you share it with this person in your life? And I remember saying like, oh, well, I don't want to be an inconvenience, or I don't want to burden them. And they're like, don't you think this person would want to help you? I'm like, I mean, I guess I can see some truth in what you're saying. And then when I actually shared with someone, they were like, oh yeah, of course I want to help you. They were brainstorming me solutions. They were thinking of all the stuff that we could do together so that I would feel better, so that we could resolve this challenge. it didn't put them out at all. Of course, they had to put in effort to be able to support me and to be able to help me move through this challenge, but they were happy to do it. They didn't feel burdened by me asking for the support. To be honest, I think they actually liked that I was able to call on them and that I trusted their advice and that I trusted their insights to help me move through this problem. And so for me, it's definitely something I'm working on, because I am used to being hyper independent. I was orphaned at age 14 and my mom was actually ill for a while before that. So I grew up very quickly and having to do a lot of things for myself as a child. So as an adult, because I didn't have that support as a child, it comes naturally to me to think, well, I would just be doing this by myself. Like, why would I ask someone to help me? It doesn't even cross my mind. The thought doesn't even cross my mind, to be honest. And so for the past few years, I've had to reprogram that mindset. And obviously it's helpful having someone like a coach or a therapist to weigh in to say, like, to highlight to me the ways in which I am being hyper independent. Because when you have a blind spot, the blind spot for a reason, because you can't see what's happening over here when you're looking over here. And so it's really helpful to have these people give you a bit of a perspective, maybe like I'm doing for you with this podcast episode. The final reason why people might not be supporting you is because you don't back yourself, right? You are not talking about yourself enough. You are not sharing the new venture that you started with an openness, because maybe you're afraid of what people might say, you're afraid to succeed, you're afraid to fail. There are 101 there are 101 reasons why you may not be sharing, but the point is that you are not sharing, so people can't meet you at that level if you've not yet met yourself there. So you also have to work on building your own belief and building your own sense of trust so that other people can meet you there. Now, with all of that said, how can you actually get people to support you and to want to do it, right? Not to force people into it, not to guilt people into it, not to shame people into it, but for people to truly want to support you with something. How can you get them on board? And I want you to operate under the assumption as I go through this that assume people want to help you until they say otherwise. For many people, the default is to assume the opposite. So you're going to have to do some work around that to switch into the thinking of people want to help me, people want to support me, people love to support me, right? These are all things that you can begin saying to get yourself in that mindset. And so for me, one of the things that I have recently started, a new venture which I have recently embarked upon, is recording this podcast over on YouTube as well. I have had this podcast for the past 3 years on traditional podcasting challenges traditional podcasting channels, and now I have finally brought the podcast over to YouTube, knowing that YouTube, like Instagram, like Twitter, like TikTok, like all the other like platforms, is something that you need an audience for in order to see your content, in order to boost the algorithm, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I was like, okay, I'm going to ask for support with this in order to grow a creative platform, in order to be able to share my work with the world, in order for more people to receive the messages that I have to offer. I am going to ask for people's support with this. So one of the things that I did was I did just that. I asked for people's support, and I'm going to read to you exactly what I said, so you can choose to copy this message or you can choose to just like do your own take on it. But before you do that, establish what support actually looks like for you. So I knew for me that support would look like subscribing to my channel, liking my channel, sharing videos from my channel. That's what I wanted people to do. I was very clear and very specific that that is how people could help me. And so the way that I asked for the support was I literally just wrote a text. And so there's a setting on WhatsApp that you can use. It'll pop up in an individual person's conversation thread, but you can send it to multiple people. It's called broadcast. And essentially what I said was, hi friends, I've recently started a YouTube channel. Please support my new venture and help me share my passion by dropping a subscribe and a like. Thank you. Kisses. And then I put my YouTube link. So I sent that to some of my closest friends. I want to say, I'm not actually sure how many people, but I sent it to people that I thought like, yeah, these are my close friends. These are who I would want to, you just know, these are the people that I would want to support me. And so multiple people replied like, yep, absolutely done. Congratulations. Well done. This is amazing. And one person, my sister, actually sent me a screenshot, and she had gone into all of her group chats and had been like, subscribe to my sister's channel. My sister started this thing. Support my sister with her new. I was like, thank you. This is the most beautiful thing anyone's ever done for me. And it was just so nice. Not only does my sister want to support me, but all these people in my sister's group chats were like, wow, that's amazing. Can't believe your sister's doing that. And it just made me feel so good. So I recommend starting off with people who you are close to, who you know you're going to get a good reception from, sending a message to a couple of them, two or three of them to begin with, maybe if you're like a little bit nervous about doing it. And then as you get the feedback, you can then push that out to more people. Then you can share it publicly on social media, and which is what I did as well. I obviously shared with my existing podcast subscribers. I shared it on my social media platform, shared it everywhere, to be honest. But also because I no longer have the fear of putting myself out there, because I'm a business owner and my business only exists if I put myself out there. I've been doing this for a while. I've sent hundreds and hundreds of podcast pitches over the years of having my business. So putting myself out there and getting a favorable response or an unfavorable response is something that I am equipped and prepared for. So that is it for this week's episode. Long story short, people want to support you, but you need to tell them how you want to be supported. Let people know how they can support you, and people will only be too happy to oblige. You can send the exact same message that I sent, or you can modify it a bit to kind of fit in with what you want and need from people to support you. Finally, don't get caught up in your head of all the limiting beliefs that say why you can or you shouldn't, or how people are secretly rooting for your downfall, because honestly, it is probably not the case. If you're listening over on YouTube, make sure to comment with your biggest takeaway. And if you are listening on the podcast, make sure to hit subscribe to get updated on future episodes as well.